Hey guys, this is Cannabones here, or Benjamin, if you really want to call me that. And this is, well, obviously, Cataclysm Dark Days Ahead. Yeah, let's just say that I got into some roguelikes recently, and I thought, why the hell not make a let's play? Cataclysm Dark Days Ahead, if you don't know, well, it's a roguelike. If you don't know what a roguelike is, it's essentially a game where, well, if you die, you die. And you have to start a whole new character. Yeah, and this game is not different. Cataclysm Dark Days Ahead is essentially, well, think of apocalypse times. You're a survivor of that apocalypse. Obviously a zombie apocalypse, but think of so many different apocalypses happening at once. From just a normal zombie apocalypse to alien invasion, I think, to invasions from hell, and I'm not kidding at that point. Um, let's just say that there's a portal that is extremely rare that you can find, and leave it at that. Okay, let's get this started. New game. Custom character. This is your stats screen. This is where you show how strong, how dexterous, how intelligent, and how perceptive your character is. Now, obviously, strength is your physical strength. How it's also, if you play a lot of role playing, it's also your constitution. Because look there, base HP. This is the base HP of your physical body parts, I think. Carry weight is how much you can carry, and melee damage is how much damage you do when you punch something or use something with a melee weapon. It says so right here. Strength also makes you more resistant to many diseases and poisons, and makes actions that require brute force more effective. So, yeah, if you want to wail on something with a cricket bat, this is something you go for. Next is dexterity. Dexterity also enhances many actions which require finesse. This ups your to hit bonus, your throwing bonus, and it lowers how much penalty you have to throwing shit. I'm not kidding. Um, Intelligence. Obviously, it's your intelligence. It's how not dumb you are. It also, there are things in the game called skill books. If you played Fallout or any other game with books that you can learn skills from, this is about the same. Except this is you actually have to go through a certain time period to read the book. Which, to put it bluntly, is a little bit annoying when you actually have to when you actually have to get food and water, and you can get hungry and thirsty while reading that book. So, and if you don't, you could die of starvation or die of lack of liquids. I am not kidding. It also has this little thing underneath the read time called skill rust. You see, there's something that happens when you don't practice a skill a lot. Any percentage that you have above a level can slowly rust away. For example, if you have 10% above a level to the next level, if you don't use that skill often, it will slowly rust away until that percentage disappears. Thankfully, though, if you reach a certain level, you stay there. You don't lose levels to that stat. You just lose the percentage to where you get to the next level. Intelligence is also used when crafting. Yes, that's true. The higher intelligence you are, I believe that it influences how fast you craft or how many crafts you can do. So the more intelligence that you have, the more, well, things you can do. Installing bionics and interacting with NPCs. Ignore the interacting with NPCs part. I don't tend to use NPCs in my games. But the installing bionics. Yes, this. There are things in the game called bionics. It is essentially metallic parts that you can add to yourself to make yourself stronger. There are many things from metallic plating you place on your skin, a blaster, I'm not Mega Man style, that replaces one of your arms. I'm not kidding. And I think there's also something that I find really interesting, an ethanol burner. Oh yeah. It essentially takes any alcohol that you drink and turns it into power. I'm not kidding. Okay, let's get on to this. Perception. Yeah, perception is necessary, but I wouldn't really think about putting that many points in it, because if you're using tiles like I do, well, it's not that hard to see. It's not that hard to see traps. Although more than once I've stepped on a dirt pile and stepped on a landmine without looking. So yeah, it shows my lack of intelligence. Next is traits. These are your traits, obviously. These are positive and negative traits that you can have on your character. Now, look up there right next to points left. That's how many points I can place in my stats or how I can spend on these traits. Right above there you can see a green and a pinkish coloration to 12. For every point of one of these traits, for example, eagle-eyed, this ups how far I can see, but it costs 1 point. If I get it, the one beside the green one goes up 1, and my points left goes to 7, showing that I've spent that point to get that trait. But if I go here, I can get something like flimsy. Through this, my body can't take that much abuse. And if I click this, notice that the little number beside the pink goes to -3, and I gain 3 points in my points. This is, you have to balance it out. Find the negative traits that are, well, not that bad, or something that you can deal with, to get more points so that you can have positive traits and still have enough to place into your stats. Next is profession. Profession is interesting. It can be anything from just your basic survivor to anything, really. Some of them have positive traits, some of them have negative traits. If you have certain points, as you can see, it costs points in order to get other traits other than survivor, although some of them cost none, like punk rock dude. Yeah, let's just say that he's a rocker and leave it at that. But some of them cost points. For example, 1 minute. The professional electrician. He has talent in electronics, but it costs 1 point to get him as my beginning part. But there are also, much like positive and negative traits, there are positive and negative. For example, failed android. Your body is racked with bionic parts. You have a large capacity for power, but are filled with broken bionics. At least your ethanol power supply still works. This is something I mentioned earlier. Yeah, the ethanol power supply. You get that immediately upon getting this character, plus you get 2 extra points for picking him. Okay, next is skills. Skills are obviously your skills, from unarmed combat, trapping, submachine gun, survival, piercing weapons, melee, mechanics, first aid, everything really. And finally, but as you can see, for every time you place points in here, notice that little number going up. After I put 2 points into one area, it costs 2 points and then 3 points in order to up it. So yeah, you have to put a delicate balance in what you place into this, or you can screw yourself over really early. And lastly is your description. This has everything that you placed. For example, here's your name. Right next to it is gender. Gender, obviously gender. And underneath it, it shows all that I mentioned earlier. Your stats, your traits, your profession, and your skills. This is essentially your character sheet if you play D&D or any other type of tabletop game. This is essentially your character sheet placed onto. So yeah, this is what you need to know after you. And I would suggest before you start the game, you immediately look through the sheet to see what traits to make sure you didn't mess up before you hit that start button. Because if you mess up before you hit that start button, you're gonna have a bad time. Okay, this has just been a little bit of tutorial to those that don't know what the heck they're looking at. Also, forgot to mention this, Cataclysm usually starts at a sort of at key sort of thing. You know, when, you know, for example, your character usually looks like a little at email symbol, and everything else is like symbols, keys, taunts. Well, there are some of those still in the game, but they're more. I like using tiles, so there should be pictures instead of those at key symbols for this. Don't worry about it. If you don't like little at keys, this is probably for you. If you do like at keys, I'm pretty sure that there are a couple more Let's Players out there like Frozen Foxy and Jeff Major, I believe their names are, that play with the at keys, so you'll find it really fun if you want to look for someone else, and they'll probably be a lot better than I am. So yeah, this is Cannabones, and this has been Cataclysm Dark Days Ahead, Episode 0, signing off.